All right, haves and have not fans. This particular video is pretty much responding to the majority of fans who said the same thing after watching the finale. Tyler needs new writers. Tyler needs new people behind the pen because this finale was trash. I completely understand the backlash, but at the same time, I kind of like cringed at that, the negativity because of the fact that the thing about it is, it's kind of like, what was it, a couple weeks ago when Sisters went viral? Anthony Dalton's character Calvin went viral from the whole prostate tickling thing. And people were, all the articles and videos about it were like, oh, in a recent episode. And I'm like, guys, you're talking about a season 1 episode of Sisters, not season 2. What the hell is going on here? So I feel like it was probably due to that viral fall spin scream he did. And people started looking up the show and then they came across it. And that's probably why it went viral. But in any case, it hurts me to, see that kind of backlash because trust and believe, I was right there with everybody, especially after, what was it, last January when he put up the work ethic, because he didn't have a writer's room, and then that led to a lot of backlash, and then the negative feedback from a fall from grace came into effect and whatnot. So, I was right there with the, hey, quality over quantity, man. But then you look at the fact that he's got new writers and directors on shows like House of HAHN and Assisted Living seasons 10 and 2 respectively. Even Young Dylan on Nickelodeon. And I'm like, guys, these shows are actually pretty solid. Sure, they might not be the, heart-stopping, edge-your-seat shows like the early episodes of the Haves and the Have-Nots, but at the same time, I just appreciate that not only is Tyler Perry finally allowing new talent to take the reins, but these people are really good at what they're doing. I'm actually seeing structure in the story, which is something that was, lacking in extreme amounts during the initial seasons of some of his Viacom shows. Now, sure, some of the heavy-hitting shows like The Oval, Sisters, they're still under Tyler Perry's thumb, but that's not to say he might not allow other people to take over in the future. But for now, I'm glad to see that he is beginning to allow other people to work aside from just him. So I just wanted to take a moment to show Tyler Perry appreciation for that, even in the midst of him going viral for not having writers and whatnot on these earlier written episodes like the Haves and the Have-Nots finale. So in this particular upload here on the channel, I wanted to talk about how if Tyler Perry brought the show back, I would love to have new writers, but I would still want Tyler Perry involved. I have these geek moments here, but Dragon Ball Super, for example, Akira Toriyama, the guy behind Dragon Ball Z, Rich, Dr. Slump, and so many other projects. He doesn't work on the current Dragon Ball media that's out there, like the animated series that was over a couple of years ago, the Broly movie. Sure, the way he works is like he's not directly involved anymore, but he's kind of like a consultant where he'll have some ideas, he'll jot them down, he'll send them in, and then like toy animation and whatnot. It's like, hey, I'm the CEO, I'm the president. Here's some cliff notes for you to work off of. It's like he sends a bullet point list of ideas and whatnot, and then it's up to the company to take those ideas and make a movie or a manga or a series out of it. And I feel like Tyler Perry could do the same thing, where I feel like with the Haves and the Have-Nots, if he brought it back, for once, I'm actually going to say it, I would love to be a part of that. Even if I'm just a person who sits in the room to help kind of shape together the idea. I would love that, because I feel like the Haves and the Have-Nots has been such an impactful series and part of my life that if it was brought back and it was garbage, I would personally feel hurt by that. Like, don't get me wrong, the ending itself had me going. I wasn't hurt by the ending. I was just kind of, okay, so what am I supposed to get from this? But let's say, in 2025, the Haves and the Have-Nots is coming back. And then it's the same level of cringe as the Pains were on OWN or House of Pain season 9 on BET, repetitive dialogue, stiff acting. I don't care if you got the original cast back. I don't care if you have zombified versions of the characters who died in the finale come back. If the show is garbage, I would hurt so bad. Unless the YouTube views were good and I was making revenue off it, but I would feel so bad. So I know for me personally, if Tyler Perry were to bring back the haves and the have-nots, I would want him involved. You know, I mean, he could easily say, hey guys, I'm going to bring it back, I'm going to fund it and everything, but you could do whatever you want. I would, you know, if it was like Jeremy, he's like, I would be like Nick Fury. I would get some of the most dedicated fans on the channel who I've talked with over the years to come together, because after watching the behind the scenes of Loki on Disney Plus, and you know, looking in the writer's room and just seeing how they chart things out for the season and whatnot, I'm like, I feel like that's how Tyler Perry probably used to do it, as opposed to just writing off the seat of his pants, because there's so many inconsistencies and whatnot. The thing that makes the MCU such a great franchise, I know I got some friends who are sick of it. I got friends who like, man, I loved it when it was like ground level as opposed to alternate timelines and multiverse and, you know, planet busting stuff. I liked it better when it was like, you know, on the ground fighting kind of thing. I get that, because over time it gets to the point where power scaling makes no sense and your mind will break trying to understand this version of a character versus this alternate version. But at the end of the day, the MCU does such a great job of weaving everything together. You can tell they actually take their time to write compelling stories. I mean, let's be honest here. Loki was 6 episodes, Falcon and Winter Soldier was 6, WandaVision was 9 or 10. Those shows did such a great job telling stories and whatnot amongst the pandemic, having to change some things around, that it's just like, wow, you know, it's because these people have a team of writers. Yeah, it takes a little bit more time to put it out there, but they take their time and they put out these shows that are only less than a dozen episodes, but people will be talking about these shows and whatnot for a long time because they're good, as opposed to talking to haves and have not fans over the past couple of years. And let's be honest here, unless it was relating to Charles and Candace getting back together, everybody was saying the same thing. The show sucks. They should kill this character off. What's Tyler Perry doing? That's pretty much it. Seriously. So I feel like if the haves and the have-nots were to come back, I would love if Tyler Perry handed the reins over to new people, to be completely honest. It's not because I don't think he's capable of writing it like he did when it originally came on. I just feel like he doesn't have an interest in it anymore. Because he's off doing other things, so it's like he doesn't have time for it. I'm not saying he couldn't make time. I mean, then again, I don't know what it's like to be a billionaire, so I can't tell you what his schedule is. It's just like when you reach a certain level of success, it's like you get other people to do stuff for you. You're not always the one at the helm of the computer typing down the script, or, you know, in the director's chair. You're kind of handing the reins over. And I mean, with Tyler, you know, allowing other people on newer projects, I would love to think that maybe someday, if the haves and the have-nots was brought back, even if it wasn't for anything more than like a movie or just a way of wrapping up the series, or hell, even a prequel show or something like that, I would love to get an email or a phone call just to be a consultant. That would be a blessing in itself, you know. But that's just my opinion, you know, just a fan who knows this show like the Bible. I'm not saying I know everything. There are some of you all who know more about it than I do, but still, I just feel like I've watched every single episode and have kept up with as many details as possible, that if it was brought back for at least one last hurrah, I would want it done right. And to be completely honest, the haves and the have-nots, that's the kind of title that could be linked to another complete different cast of characters. I'm not saying I mean, a lot of people remember when the Pains was first announced and they put out that first promotional photo and Curtis and Ella were the only characters from House of Pain that was brought into it? The backlash. So I feel like if the haves and have-nots came back and it was an entirely new group of families, I know that would be a lot of backlash. But at the same time, when you look at the premise of what this show is, it could actually work if done right. Kind of like Cherish Today, they said every season of the show would focus on a new couple. See, because it's all about each season about a different journey of, you know, two people in love. So I feel like with the haves and the have-nots, it could continue on. It's just, you know, it's just a matter of it being done right. So this is pretty much, you know, I feel like one of my first times kind of saying, hey, Tyler Perry, not owned, but, you know, Viacom, Tyler Perry Studios, if you ever need somebody to kind of help out, I would love to be a part of any kind of haves and have not revival. Just throwing my hat in the ring. And with that being said, let me know your thoughts. If the show were to come back, how would you want it done? Would you want Tyler to do everything? Would you want Tyler to at least have a small group of people helping him out? Would you like to be part of that kind of thing like I would? And don't worry, I still have videos coming up where I want to talk about how I would have rewritten the finale, if not the entire final season. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.